Master of Torque, the Darkness Rising. A theme that represents the dark side of Japan, which supposedly embodies the deviant subculture in the motorcycling scene in the land of the rising sun. Remember Tokyo Drift from the Fast and the Furious franchise? Yeah, parang ganon. A marketing ploy to invoke a mysterious and aggressive undertone in the overall feel of the bike, making it more desirable, more enticing. Galing, di ba? And true enough, with its bold design, futuristic front fascia, coupled with aggressive paint schemes incorporating those eye-catching color combinations of neon reds, greens, and yellows, the bike really looks aggressive, all sharp lines and angles. It just screams for attention. No mistaking about it when you see it on the road. It just does it effortlessly. Walang kahirap-hirap, attention grabber talaga. And what we have now is the MT15, the smallest of the MT series lineups of Yamaha released here in the Philippines. It is the most compact member of the MT series, which delivers aggressive looks and solid features. Definitely high-end, differentiating itself from Yamaha's other 150cc category bikes. The MT15 borrows directly from Yamaha's racing heritage through the R15. The engine is the same as the R15, a 155cc single-cylinder, 4-valve, liquid-cooled, single overhead cam engine. Horsepower is around 19 HP with a maximum torque of around 14.7 Nm at 8,500 RPM. It boasts of VVA or variable valve actuation that kicks in at around 7,000 RPM. What this means is that it changes cam profile at certain RPM range to give you better torque and power delivery at higher RPMs. If this sounds quite familiar, yes, it has the same principle as that of the VTEC of Honda engines. VTEC kick in, yo! The VVA makes the power available at all RPM range. Frugal when you don't need the power, and yet switches suddenly to an angry machine when the engine is revved high. That is why you'll get an impressive 48 km per liter with this powerhouse. A very good option if you want this bike as an everyday bike, yet able to handle the demands of a fun bike on the weekends. To be honest, that is one impressive spec sheet. However, we need to remember that expectations may differ in real-life situations where the actual conditions may be different from when the figures were determined. While the HP and torque figures are impressive, they were achieved at higher RPMs. But how about at lower RPMs? I couldn't say na tipong same siya ng Duke 200 eh. I would probably say na tipong the Duke 200 is torquier than this one. Yeah, there's a bit of lag. So in terms of acceleration, you wouldn't really be getting much from the first gear. Halos wala eh. It has a very short gear ratio. You have to shift up immediately to get more acceleration. So medyo mabagal yung kanyang take off from start. I feel the bike is lacking torque on the lower RPM range. So in other words, medyo mahihirapan ka mag-overtake using this bike. Kakailanganin mo ng buwelo. Ayan o. Yun, so kakailanganin mo ng buwelo or you have to really rev the engine high to get that enough torque to overtake, moving vehicles as well. But do remember, what we have in here is a racing engine from the R15, and like in most racing engines, they are at their best at higher RPM ranges. True enough, performance of this bike really changes on open roads and mountain twisties, where there are more opportunities to freely rev the engine to its optimum RPM range. With the Delta Box frame, which makes the MT15 a very rigid bike, and with a shorter wheelbase and steeper rake angle, these make this bike even more maneuverable with sharp corner handling. It's an extremely well-balanced bike, requiring very minimal input from the rider as the bike is very responsive and easily flickable. Even the slightest input like shifting of weight is enough to tip the bike in.
The cornering for this bike is quite smooth, probably due to suspension. I don't know about the tires, but It does follow the inputs that you are giving to the handlebar.
Part of the bike's stability is due to its suspension, with upside-down telescopic forks at the front and multi-link monoshock at the rear. The MT15 also prides itself with a slipper clutch, one of the few in the 150cc segment to have this as a feature, which normally you can find this feature only in higher displacement bikes. Just so you know, slipper clutch prevents rear wheel lockups during aggressive downshifts, which would otherwise cause the rear tire to skid, something you do not really want when attacking the corners. This makes this bike even more fun as it lessens the worry of unintended spills in the corners. This predictability in handling allows you to get into the groove more for that aggressive fun ride in the mountain twisties, with you not having to fear any sudden loss in traction. Unfortunately, while the sporty suspension setup is very good for spirited drive as it gives the rider excellent road feedback, the stiffness becomes rather unpleasant on rougher roads. Riding the bike for quite a long duration in poor city roads of the metro will actually give you a sore back. The riding stance, while upright, somehow still gives you that sporty feel. The arms are stretched, while the rear set foot pegs are placed a bit to the rear, giving this aggressive leg position. It is good when doing rides in the twisties but tends to be tiresome in traffic situations.
Honestly, I could feel the brunt of the stiff suspension of this bike. Medyo sumasakit na yung ano ko eh. Sumasakit na yung balakang ko.
The seat height is around 810 mm, actually the same height as the Duke 200, but surprisingly, it feels to be taller than it actually is, giving you the sensation you are perched high on the bike, much like in a motocross bike. Definitely a bit of disadvantage for short riders. Fortunately though, the bike is only 133 kilograms, something that is really manageable, especially in city traffic where you need to hold the bike's weight around filtering between cars in traffic. Add to that is the fact that this bike has one of the smoothest gear shifting in all manual standard bikes I have tried, and together with the assist clutch which provides the lightest clutching I have ever experienced, the MT15 provides the easiest transition for someone upgrading to a manual clutch bike from an automatic scooter. However, while the presence of assist and slipper clutch is hugely appreciated in the Yamaha MT15, the absence of ABS, even a single channel unit, is one surprising omission in the motorcycle. Most bikes nowadays are making this as a standard equipment already, even on scooters. That is why not having the ABS in this bike is somewhat a letdown. Likewise, a side stand kill switch, which are now becoming standard to most scooters and standard bikes alike, is interestingly absent in the MT15. Some nice to have safety features that are normally looked forward to by would-be buyers of the bike. Nevertheless, the MT15 is one bike that is really packed with features. The tall and lean stance coupled with an extrovert and mean-looking design gives a tremendous road presence to the Yamaha MT15. On the design front, the MT15 draws inspiration from its bigger brothers, meaning it flaunts a twin LED headlamp unit with monofocus projector LED that gives it a mean and alienish look, not to mention a very crisp throw of lights on the road. The instrument panel is fully digital with LCD negative display that showcases a gear indicator, shift light, trip meters, fuel consumption, and average speed. And the most interesting aspect of this bike is that it provides the closest big bike feel to a rider but with the practicality of an underbone, both in fuel consumption and maintenance aspects alike. With a 10-liter fuel tank capacity and a very good fuel consumption, imagine going to Baguio and back in just one full tank of gas. What else can you ask for? Panalo, diba? Pogi ka na, tipid ka pa. The MT15 is a bike that pleasantly combines rideability and sportiness, and is best enjoyed on long trips and open roads. It's forgiving enough to be beginner-friendly, but has plenty of power and fine-tuning to warrant serious consideration from an experienced rider. And with a price tag of 159,000 pesos, all this will be yours. And it is a Yamaha. What else can you ask for? And with that, I'll end my vlog here. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, do subscribe to BossTL PH. and click that notification bell to be notified of our new uploads. And as I always say, stay awesome, stay safe, see you in the next episode. Bye for now.